Bonnie and I started our work together, unbeknownst to her, in 2003 when I joined a class for the Hudson Valley Writing Project. And she inspired my practice and interest in digital storytelling and using digital tools to engage students in writing when I saw Bonnie share one of her very early digital stories. It was about her mom. I can still remember it. And I kind of remember running home that night and creating my own PowerPoint about a story that I had written about my son earlier in our time together during that summer session. So when I read about Troy Hick's book, Because Digital Writing Matters, it was an opportunity for me to bridge our work with technology with all the work that we'd been doing in writing the previous year. And the writing project really focuses on developing, cultivating teachers as leaders within the district, and how we can use those teachers to then inspire our other teachers to engage students in authentic writing practice. So based on that, Bonnie, as a representative of the Hudson Valley Writing Project, joined us for this school year to work with a core team of teachers as writers, and then bridged out from there to work with the teachers at the intermediate school to really tackle the Common Core writing standards with a specific look at Standard 1, argument writing, and also Standard 8 with using multimedia to support writing, multimedia resources to support student research and writing. What's been nice about the process is that Tracy Koch and Javina Lacken, a 3rd and 5th grade teacher from the intermediate school, are on the core team, so they really have bridged our work with the core group and exploring digital writing and from the narrative perspective as an individual, not as a teacher necessarily, but really exploring it myself first and developing my own personal narrative, and then bringing that into my classroom to use that same process with my students.
Yeah. I think the best part about our writing project here, what you've brought in, is definitely the fact that it's ongoing. You have these conversations not only when you're here, I mean, we email constantly, and it's just a great way to have those ongoing conversations, those ideas, that bounce back, that instant feedback. Whereas when you do professional development, it's a lot of information at once, and you're sitting there and you're thinking, oh yeah, I could do this, and then you get back into your classroom and it's not really there for you. I think I'm most excited too that I have the opportunity to write in the writing project, which you don't get a chance to. I mean, teachers, they're busy, all of them, and when I write bullet statements or, quick, because that's what I have the time to do. But when you're given the opportunity to sit and write, you see yourself as a writer, you see what you want your students to be as a writer, and you kind of hold them to that same standard. So it's professional development, but it brings you back to the fact that we all are learners and all need to be writers. I don't think there's a way that you can get around not being a writer yourself if you're asking your students to be writers. I find that students' writing tends to not be focused, especially when you're talking about a biography. They just want facts, which are great for a biography. They're really important. But what type of fact fits with why you're writing this story is what my goal is. It's not that you can report out on a person's life. It's a different type of story. And that's what all the books that we've read kind of tell. They don't say a birthday, college, marriage. They don't give the whole story. It's very focused on one part. So as part of the research, I asked them to think of something, a primary resource, an artifact, that was owned by them firsthand. It could have been an article of clothing. It could have been a diary, a letter, a photograph, something that they were a part of. But I really do think my goal as a teacher is not to have them publish a biography that's been done before. I want to see something different. And I really think that this approach to it has changed this unit completely, giving them a chance to tell a different story through a different point of view.
For you to hear them maybe read those pieces on a voice thread?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really excited about VoiceThread. I haven't stopped thinking about it.
I knew you would. I knew you'd love it.
Yeah.
I'm Molly Feldman, and I chose Florence Nightingale. And I chose her because she inspires me. And she inspires me because she spent her whole life wanting to be a nurse, and she follows her dreams no matter what comes in her path. And she loves helping others, and she's very kind. And the artifact I chose was a lamp, and she used it to carry, while she was walking around when she was in a hospital when the soldiers went to war for her country. They wanted land, which is now Paris in France. And, well, a lot of them got injured, so she and a group of 36 nurses went over and they were helping the soldiers in the hospitals. And at night she would walk around to make sure they were comfortable, and she would use this lamp to see. And what I wrote was, if Florence Nightingale's lamp could talk, it would say, wow, look at all these soldiers who care for their country. Also, look at this lady who is holding me. She is very brave, inspires me, and is kind.
You took on a brand new project. This was the first time you did PSAs.
Yes.
And you could have just been done, you were one of the first people with your, with an argumentative essay. Mm-hmm. It's in the file, ready to go, but you wanted to jump into this PSA, so.
There were a lot of kids who really delved into it and really took it as something that they could learn from. So that, I think, was a highlight for me, seeing their product and talking to them about what they learned from doing the research and putting it together. It is writing, so you have them get into that whole writing process and really condensing what they have to say in a short amount of space, a short amount of time and space, which can be difficult for them, but it's a really important skill. The idea was to persuade somebody and to have an effect. Their pictures and their words and the music needed to have an effect on somebody. And I think many of the kids were able to do that, bring everything together and do that. But I had kids coming in during lunch to see the other classes' public service announcements. And I still have kids who were absent on the day that we showed them who are going to be coming in tomorrow to take a look. So they're really interested to see what the other kids did as well, kind of compare it with their own, which I think is important too. They could see maybe next time they do something like this, I want to do it like that. Right. I thought that was a really good thing that Meta did. So.
With me, I like to work by myself so I can get creative instead of having other people's input. So what I did teen suicides. Start off with bullying because that was mostly what it starts with. And it's a really, really a topic that you need to focus on because kids take their lives every day for something as simple as name calling, or in my video I put a mini memorial of kids who have taken their lives. So it was showing them what would happen, how would your family feel, and at the end of it I put a number, a hotline for them to go to, and if they feel suicidal, either go to a hospital, call that hotline, or tell someone so you don't have to take your lives and put your friends and family through that.
What was time consuming about this for you? Because now you did it on your own.
Probably getting out information and working it into the photo story. It was you had to go to different websites. So some websites didn't give the same information as others, didn't have enough, or wasn't very accurate. So I had to search everywhere for it.
As a class, we've been learning about Washington, D.C. and our national government, and we decided to take the role of choosing which branch of government we wanted to work in. So we went over all 3 branches and what their duties were and all the perks of those branches, and then the children were able to decide by knowing this information what branch they would like to work in. So then they had to make an argumentative piece as to why they would pick this branch and then what makes it better than the other.
Great. And use some videos for that too?
Yes, we used videos. We went online and did a tour of the White House, and we looked at pictures of the Capitol and the Supreme Court so they could see what each building looked like.
And helping them to make
their decisions, yeah.
Now, okay.
The executive branch is the best branch in the U.S. because I want to be a president because I want my family to be proud of me. This is important because it makes me feel good of myself that I'm doing something important. I get to make sure people all over the United States obey the laws. This is important. Laws. If people follow the laws, they could be safe. If I was president, I will get to live in the White House. If my family lose their house, they can come live with me in the White House until they get their house back. The executive branch is the best because they got a really big bowling alley and a big room. The executive branch is the best because you get to be on TV and everyone will come to see how good I'm doing.
That's very nice.
Oh, yours is the first one. Wait a second. That's what happened. Yep. Sometimes it helps if you start at the beginning. Listen.
When I travel to the moon, I will see footprints from the people that went to the moon many years ago.
You sound different than when you sound in your head, the way you sounded in your head, right? I know, it's
It was
funny.
good,
the way that
though.
happens. You did, you did a
Really
great job.
good.
That was awesome. Okay, you're all done?
Yeah.
All right.
From bleak to beauty.
Nothing like before.
This is not a dump. This land is our land.
Majestic mountains, they're setting the scene.
Now we're growing on trees in the distance. The water is strong.
That we live on now.
The sun sparkles on the surface.
Blue the water.
Leaves of rocky green, rough rocks of ash, gray and dust. Light peers through the sky, peeking to see all beauty.
Beautiful river. We're almost finished with this.
Keep the Hudson clean.
Clear blue-green waters.
Pete Seeger is real. The one who helped us. The power he had to persuade lots of people.
Nice.
Smiling.
You can move a little bit if you want. There you go. That'd be great.
During this project, we were shown pictures of Japanese and Hudson River Valley nature. These photographs were very inspiring in my opinion. We thought about how the condition of the Hudson River has changed and spoke about how Pete Seeger made a big difference. When I was writing haikus, I felt very much more connected to nature. Instead of just looking and saying ooh and ah, I actually wrote about what I saw. Everyone in my class interpreted each picture differently, and so we all wrote entirely different poems, but they were all inspired by the same pictures. I felt that when we looked at the Hudson River Valley photos, I saw more inspiration in them. I've seen some of those landscapes in person, and therefore felt that those pictures were home. To me, this project was important because it wasn't just about writing. We wanted to make a difference. Our teacher, Mr. Patch, took 1 or 2 lines from each of our poems and made them into one big poem. We recited it and sang some of This Land Is Your Land. I think it helped us realize how important it is to keep our earth clean and to pass our knowledge down to the next generation, as Pete Seeger did.
Wow, I love the end of that.
The idea of passing knowledge down to the next generation, it's essentially what I chose to do for my life, is to pass knowledge down to the next generation. Pete Seeger did it in his own way, and that's kind of a very important piece, I think, that you picked up on. I think it's great. And I know that you're going to do the same thing. You know, you're going to pass what you've learned in life. You're going to pass it on. Pay it forward, I think it's called, maybe.
Yeah.
We have to relinquish control as administrators and teachers and say, and let the kids have at it, because they will. I was in our classroom, one of our classrooms just the other day, and they were sharing the pieces that our students worked on with Bonnie Kaplan, that through the tutelage of Bonnie Kaplan with this one specific teacher, she said it was amazing, and the beautiful piece I saw as these kids stood up there very confidently, quite honestly, to share their writing, and they were confident because they owned their own piece. They had such ownership of that piece. They weren't being compliant to check the box and do the assignment. It wasn't, you know, it was so meaningful to them, and I knew that because of the way that they presented themselves. The magical piece, Bonnie, was when the teacher sat and gave individual feedback specific to this standard of writing, and then opened it up to their peers, and the dialogue that happened. It just was amazing. That's the instructional shift we must make in classrooms.
It is your